Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the Apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim for tuning into these videos. Alright, so the topic of this video is going to be about the war in heaven. So when Yahweh Shai returns, Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorant calls Jesus Christ. When he returns, the second coming of the Messiah, he's going to come down and pretty much, swat down the Space Force. Whatever little flies that, the so-called white man, Esau Edom, can try to build up to go against the Heavenly Father and his son Yahweh Shai that he sent. But pretty much, it's already written in the book how it's going to go down. But I got these articles showing you that these elites, they're in the know, and they're building towards pretty much destiny, destiny of their destruction. They're getting swatted down, whatever Air Force, Space Force that they got against Yahweh Shai, it's gonna come to naught because it's like I said, it's already written in the book of Revelation 12. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with reading what Donald Trump, the president of America, is what he says. He said this on the 5th of February, 2020, year of prophecy. He had pretty much a union speech or whatever. And so I got the full text of Trump's speech right here. And I'm just going to scroll past to the important parts. Alright, so, in that speech, he said, and this is Donald Trump's quotes in the speech, it says, "To safeguard American liberty, we have invested a record-breaking $2.2 trillion in the United States military. We have purchased the finest planes, missiles, rockets, ships, and every other form of military equipment." So all this money, that's now $2.2 trillion. That's a lot of money. And then what is the so-called white man doing with that money? Is he's putting it all in his blessing, and his blessing is the sword. So part of this trillions of dollars is going to the military, planes, missiles, rockets, ships, every other form of military equipment. Because not only is he preparing for that fight in the heavens, is he's also preparing for World War III and those ICBM missiles. Because World War III is going to be mainly fought with thermonuclear weapons. But he's putting all his money into the sword pretty much. All right, so continue on this speech. It says, "And it is made right here in the USA." Very prideful. It's he's saying all this money and all this weaponry is made here in the USA. Says we are also finally getting our allies to help pay for their fair share. I have raised contributions from the other NATO members by more than 40 billion, and the number of allies meeting their minimum obligations has more than doubled. And just weeks ago, for the first time since President Truman established the Air Force, more than 70 years earlier, we created. More than 70 years earlier, that the Air Force was created. And continue on, it says, we created a new branch of the United States Armed Forces. It's called the Space Force. Very important. He's like how Donald Trump speaks, likes to emphasize on words. So it's a big speech, but I pretty much found the highlights. Alright, so this part of the speech, it says, in reaffirming our heritage as a free nation, we must remember that America has always been a frontier nation. Now we must embrace the next frontier. And pretty much the next frontier of America's destruction. Now it says, America's manifest destiny in the stars. So in this speech, it's making it sound like America's going to go on forever. And it's going to go on so much forever that they're going to be able to cultivate meteorites, live on Mars, this and that, Star Trek. So it says, America's manifest destiny in the stars. I am asking the Congress to fully fund the Artemis program to ensure that the next man and the first woman on the moon will be American astronauts, using this as a launch pad to ensure that America is the first nation to plant its flag on Mars. So these high hopes of, going into space, having a giant arsenal of weaponry in space, really, he's not going to say it in this speech, but it's because it's to manifest destiny to go up against Yahweh Shai and all those angels. riding chariots. So there's another article. It's posted on the same day. It says the United States Space Force, the Space Force right there, it says they conducts its very first missile test. So they're over there, they're testing, how to get up into the space. Now they're testing how to shoot weapons into space, or, in space. So they're pretty much, they're wheating their sword. They're preparing for that battle. They're preparing for destiny. It says, I'm just going to read this part right here. It says, the United States Space Force, America's newest military service branch, early this morning conducted a test of a Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile. The missile was part of a routine test of America's missile forces. Minuteman III is stated to be replaced with a new missile ground-based strategic deterrent sometime in the 2030s. I'll go ahead and just play a clip of it, see how it looks. Well, this is pretty much just a missile, but anyways, I mean, you get the point of the direction where Esau Edom is going to. All right, so I'm gonna read this first precept. This is Acts 1 verse 11, and this is Yahushai. Oh no, it's not Yahushai. I'm gonna go ahead and read a little up ahead so we can get the the more understanding of this right here. All right, so this is verse 10. It's Acts 1 verse 10. It says, "And while they looked steadfastly towards heaven as he went up," that person is talking about Yahushai. This is after he had rose from the dead. It says, "Behold, two men stood by them in white apparel." Those two men were pretty much angels, and they spoke to the people who were watching Yahushai get beamed up onto a chariot. And this is what they said. It says, "Which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why standing ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushai, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven." So he's going to return just as he left, with a chariot from the heavens. This is, what we're all waiting for. This is pretty much, that prophecy of Yahushai's return. This is Revelation 1 verse 7. It says, "Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him." So when Yahushai comes back, he's going to come with clouds, and every eye shall see him. That pretty much is, if you could, depict a picture in your mind, is he's going to be on a really, really big a father ship. Like if you ever watched the movie Independence Days, there was a big alien UFO that came to America, and everybody stood up to look at it. So it's pretty much just going to be like in a global sense, because every eye is going to see it. It's going to be so big that it's going to shadow everything. Alright, so it says, "And every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen." So going into that war, because once he returns, Esau Edom's his last line of defense is his Space Force pretty much, and he's going to go up against them and utterly fail. So this is 2nd Ezra 13. I'm gonna start at verse 5. It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of a number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea." So pretty much the heavens, like space, pretty much. It's spoken in the scriptures as it's an ocean, it's a sea. So and he's going to come out of the sea, and all these people are going to try to subdue that man that came out of the sea. It says, "But behold, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it." And that's that great mountain, that giant father ship that I was speaking about. He's going to be on the biggest, baddest chariot. And this is verse 7. It says, "But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hills was graven, and I could not." Because Esdras was equating to this as he's never seen anything as big as this. Like there's no mountain can compete. Like Mount Everest is a pebble compared to Yahushai's chariot when he returns. And verse 8 says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, yet durst fight." Because all these people in those spaceships, whatever, those fighter jets, they're going to be pissing their pants. Yet it's gonna the heavenly Yahweh Shai is gonna put their spirit in them to actually go up against them, just to show his power to swat them down. In verse 9 it says, "And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war." So like he's not going to swat these little flies down. He's actually going to burn them, with spiritual powers. And it says, verse 10, "But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests." So pretty much, there's no way they're going to be able to compete against Yahweh Shai. They're so afraid, yet they're going to go fight and die, when they fight against Yahweh Shai. Because like that end times, when Yahweh Shai finally makes his return to the planet Earth, it's going to be very, very terrible looking. These people are going to die out of from heart attacks pretty much when they see this. All right, so to paint the picture of it a little bit more, is this Habakkuk 3 verse 16. It says, "When I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice, rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself, that I might rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops." So he's going to come back with a massive amounts of armies. All right, so to end this off, pretty much the prophecy. Because I'm saying how Yahweh Shai is definitely going to return. He's going to make a reappearance. He's going to come back as a lion, and he's going to pretty much save the elect out of this coming destruction. Because it's going to be a surgical strike. He's only going to kill people who are deemed worthy of death, and the people who pretty much who are slaughtered for salvation. The elect 144,000. They're not going to be touched by this. All right, so this is Revelation 12 and 7. It says, "And there was war in heaven," speaking about that war that Ezra saw. It says, "Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels." And that's speaking about in Habakkuk about his troops is going to be a massive amounts of chariots. And for verse 8 says, "And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven." So that's why these people are going to be so afraid, because obviously they're not going to prevail. And then, them seeing it, they're going to go into their blaze of glory. I'm sure that they're going to know that they're not going to prevail, but they're going to fight still. And verse 9 says, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan." This is pretty much, the devil, the deceiver, and Satan, the adversary. And, the physical counterpart of the devil and Satan is Esau Edom, the one who's in charge of the world right now. As the scriptures say in 2 Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So we're coming into the time where Esau is going to be the end of the world, and then Jacob. And Jacob is going to be the one that's going to inherit, the world, and then, pretty much, live in the kingdom, establish the kingdom. It says, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." So like I was saying, it's going to look like these little flies are going to get swatted down, but by concentrated heat. And you see that in the movies too, like the worlds. Those aliens were zapping people; they were pretty much disintegrating. It's going to be pretty much like that. And it just goes to show you that the elites know about this. They know that this is destiny, and that there's nothing they can do about it. And so verse 10 it says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night." That's talking about, Esau Edom, because that's what he's doing right now. He's accusing us, our brethren, but we're not brothers anymore. But then it's saying that he's going to get cast down. And verse 11 it says, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb." So this is pretty much talking about, the 144,000 elect members and the 1/3 that's slaughtered for salvation. This is because those people that I just, named pretty much, is they're going to be doing the things that are that are pretty much like the people who are going to be saved out of the salvation are going to be the things that the people who are going to get saved out of salvation are going to be doing, which is, I'm going to continue on. It says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. So the scripture says, to love not the world, neither the things in the world. So pretty much, the elect of the nation of Israel, they cast their lives, in this world so they can, pretty much live in this ministry. Understand that Yahweh Shai, he sacrificed his blood for us. The 144,000 of the nation of Israel. So that's the end of this video. It's pretty much, this is pretty much prophecy. It's destiny. It's Esau's destiny and our destiny to be saved out of the coming destruction. So I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and Shalom Akim.